So we're here with Russell Stopford, who's just been in an absolutely packed out seminar space, haven't you? Tell us a little bit about what you were talking to your audience about, in particular the mobile apps.
Well, we were really covering mobile from three perspectives. We believe that there are essentially three ways that brands should really sort of address mobile content at this stage. Unless you're like a big company like Facebook, where you want to spend large amounts of money developing native apps for each platform and different handset and different portable device. We think that the most relevant way for most brands is to look at three different valid approaches. One which is a responsive design approach, which our agency partner Aqueduct talked about. That was John Ray, the digital strategy director there. I talked about developing HTML5 apps around a platform which then allows you to deliver to native app stores, which allows you to deliver cross-platform applications at a fraction of the cost that it would cost you if you were delivering them to each individual platform or app store separately. Examples of that are things like Brightcove, AppCloud, PhoneGap. Then we had our other agency who's helped us build our mobile optimized website, which is just about to be launched. So that's a first for you guys. And we're going to be launching it hopefully the next few days. And we had our partner Boost over from Norway. We had Karina Zaya, who's the managing director of Boost Mobile, talk about how they've helped us build that platform.
I think we just need to clarify that you were talking from Manchester City Football Club. I think we might have missed that on the introduction. So you had a packed out audience. Was it the fact that it's a football group that you were talking about, or were you able to deliver specific messages that anyone can use for their companies?
Yeah, we didn't quite have the packed out stadium of 47,000 that we get at the Etihad, but we had people queuing at the back. I think it's the thing is, I mean, we're fortunate in having a brand which people feel very passionate about, and so that gives us that interactivity, that gives us that audience engagement. But I think Karina, who was on the panel, was mentioning that any brand really has content. It's just about figuring out what audience, what audience you want to do with that content.
Let's talk to Karina then. You just mentioned the fact that she sort of developed that for you, and how can companies hone in on particularly the elements that are really going to help their company?
Well, obviously with great content like Manchester City, there's you can really treat your content like a media company, and there's potential in ad revenue streams. That's very important for mobile websites, and having really targeted content and advertising for their subscription base or viewers or users or fans or whoever you're reaching out to is a big opportunity on mobile right now.
So how did you start? What was the relationship like? Where did you start with Manchester City Football Club?
Well, I was going to say maybe I could just answer that, because I think one of the really important things for us is we're a club which is developing an audience internationally in developing markets as well as very advanced technological markets like the Middle East, Japan, the US, the UK, and the Nordic countries. So I think what we were sort of looking at is a company and an approach which could give us that backward compatibility as well as forward-looking future-proofing, and that's where Boost were able to do that.
Yeah, we see that we're delivering technology to a company like Manchester City, who has a fan base across the world, really. And you would see in some markets they're accessing content on the web for the first time, and not all of them have smartphones, and you have to really cater to the needs. So you might see that in the Middle East and Africa, for instance, in the same market, you might have a huge base that have new smartphones, but also a fan base that doesn't have smartphones. And you really have to be delivering on all those different platforms, and that's sort of where we come from our experience in the Middle East and Africa as well, as from the more developed markets here in Europe.
So that's where you can really help, really targeting and thinking about the customer and different types of customers that companies that can come and talk to you might have and might not know necessarily how to deal with.
Yes, exactly. I mean, delivering for really the iPhones and the Android devices out there is not really the tricky part at this point. Most people can do that and have great experiences, but it's really ensuring that you can reach your full potential here. And obviously, with the success that Manchester City is having these days, there's a huge fan base outside of Europe. So they can reach this through the new mobile website, obviously.
A lot of people here interested to hear what you have to say. Were there any particular questions you think that are worth mentioning for people that you could answer, for people who didn't actually manage to get to your seminar? Any questions that people had for you?
There was a question about how do you future-proof, your sort of mobile experiences, and I think what's interesting for us, we're sort of taking a long-term view, looking at a point in time. We're sort of seeing that to be 2014 or so, when the sort of prevalence of mobile internet consumption switches, and it becomes the lead platform above other above the sort of desktop web access. Obviously, there are other things that are happening, like connected TV and new novel platforms all the time, where which are going to be challenging for supremacy. But I really feel that now is the time for us to be focusing on a mobile strategy. If we look at the rate of growth of mobile, it's really something that there's a massive latent demand, not just in the UK, in our UK audiences, but in our global audiences as well.
How are you finding this particular conference? It's a great place for people to meet and ask these questions. Why was it important for you to come along to Cross Media 2012?
I came last year, and I think that it's one of those conferences which is actually blending a lot of the interesting debates in marketing and content, and so that's why I was here. And Karina's here, I think, just because I wanted to really share some of the great work that Boost have done with us, and wanted their support on that as well.
Yeah, obviously the crossover between content and marketing is really something that's key for a lot of our clients. And I was fortunate enough that Russell invited me to join in his presentation today. So, but it's a great event. It's definitely something that's very much in the moment and something everybody wants to know more about right now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for talking to us. Thank you.